Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, The End of CRM, How AI Native Systems Will Replace Every Legacy Platform. I am Franz Widmaier. I'm the CEO of billgoodmarketing, as well as the founder of Altitude. And I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So this is the exec team at BGM. We are the team that powers billgoodmarketing and Altitude. BGM has a long history of innovation, and I'm going to share some of that with you today. Between the six of us, we have more than 130 years experience in wealth management, marketing, and consulting. We have all worked with the founder directly and are continuing his mission to help advisors double their production and now work half as much. Speaking of consulting, this is Bill Good. He turned a hunger for knowledge into the revolutionary system for financial advisors that we now know as the Bill Good marketing system. Many people don't know this, but Bill was instrumental in shaping the industry we live in today. Over the past decade, I've heard many stories about how he has changed lives for the better from so many of the advisors that we've worked with. I feel it's the primary reason why our company has been around for so long. It's a very, very rare thing to hear of a company in our industry that's been around for 50 years. As a consultant, writer, and founder of Bill Good Marketing, Bill's predictions have shaped the industry and have helped us arrive at where we are today. So before talking about the future, let's recap a little bit of the past. We put together some of these key discoveries driven by the codification and implementation of probably 100,000 hours of conversations and research into our industry. For example, in 1987, Bill predicted that no broker would earn a high 6 or 7 figures without a team. Well, what happened? Team-based practices became the industry norm. In 1989, he discovered the power of partnerships. He found that partnerships, when structured correctly, create endurance, continuity, free time, and client reassurance. He also discovered that to retain clients in the 90s, advisors must develop relationships, not just add accounts. This led to the client relationship retention formula. In 1993, he knew that when the last client died, the assets will leave unless a family relationship with the advisor was built. So he developed the Family Financial Advisor strategy. In 95, he knew that without differentiated value, fees would tread down, investment performance would become a commodity, and that higher fees would require an increase in actual and perceived value, which meant you must deliver and communicate differentiated value, which requires better framing, better positioning, and a clear value statement. So this last little part, in 97, he predicted that insurance agents would invade the traditional financial services space in large numbers. Bill emphasized that competition isn't just the advisor across town. It's structural shifts in who captures client assets and why. This led him to building marketing campaigns around building a strong advisor identity and client stickiness. So let's move on to 98. The writing was on the wall and advisors knew that they must convert to fees. So he built a multi-year method to convert without catastrophic income loss. In 99, he assured advisors that web tools wouldn't replace them. And we all saw what happened with robo-advisors. It proved again that people want advice from people. In the early 2000s, the dropout rates for new advisors hit an all-time high. As an industry, we were facing not only having enough people to provide good advice, but having enough people at all. He identified and drove advisors toward team building and the development of the next generation of advisor, which demonstrated to the clients growth and continuity. This prediction, problem solving, and execution went on year after year, decade after decade. There are dozens more best practices that came after this. All in all, Bill has predicted, coached, and built the system to help tens of thousands of advisors through the decades of change that has built the industry we have today. His research, codification, testing, and implementation are what created the Bill Good marketing system. So what was the result? The result was that countless advisors doubling their production, serving more clients, generating referrals without asking, bringing in tremendous amounts of new assets through seminars and other channels. Good advisors helping good people live more fulfilling lives. But in the beginning, one thing was missing. It was the futuristic software at the time to help them do it. It did everything. It automated your business. It gave you a sales pipeline. It helped you put on events, send letters and emails when that came out. It gave you client segmentation and householding, as well as all the tools and training you needed to build and manage deep relationships with clients. It was literally the first marketing automation platform in the world. And most of the CRMs you see this day were built off of this same model. It gave you the power over the mess that was managing a book of business, and man, did it thrive for a long time. This was the first iteration, the first instance of humans using computers to improve the condition of a wealth management firm, and it caught on like wildfire. However, it was complicated and new and required advisors and their teams to ship their desktop computers, hop on a plane, and fly to Salt Lake City and sit with us for 5 days to learn this new system. The first time I visited the office back in 2007, there was a room filled with about 50 people learning what it took to implement this massive system. So what does this mean? This means that evolution takes time. And much like the evolution of that system we deliver to advisors, technology and innovation goes hand in hand. But again, it takes time. So I'll give you an example. This is the world's first airplane. It only flew 4 times for a total of 4 miles. It reached only 10 feet in altitude and was wrecked by wind after its final flight. Many of the techniques the Wright brothers used on their first plane proved to be dead ends, but they proved that heavier than air flight was possible. Other inventors and engineers around the world picked up on what the Wright brothers had done and began experimenting with subtle improvements and add-ons, like the use of ailerons, small hinge surfaces on wings to help control which way the plane could turn. With every passing year, these early aviation pioneers made new discoveries, keeping what worked and discarding what didn't. Also, airplanes could fly higher and faster. These discoveries were essentially aviation's best practices, better processes and techniques for wringing every ounce of efficiency and power as possible out of an airplane. Those best practices enabled newer pilots and inventors to design airplanes that could do things that even the Wright brothers had never really envisioned, like transport cargo, carry passengers, or even land on water. Over time, the entire aviation community picked up on these best practices. The industry as a whole converged on what worked best, resulting in the familiar shape of an airplane that we all know so well today. This is what Bill Good did with the BGM system. Bill discovered many of the best practices that helped advisors go higher, grow faster. He experimented, he tested, he refined, and he taught them to others. The rest of the industry eventually caught on them too, which is why today many of them become so codified and familiar that we can't even remember a time without them. So, just like as we see today, modern airplanes are the culmination of over a century of best practices, all coming together in a single, ridiculously powerful machine. Now, we're doing that same thing with the best practices that Bill discovered and refined, putting them all together in one modern, ridiculously powerful platform. So we arrive at the crossroads where the past becomes the past, and the rapid pace of new technology is creating the future, and that is Altitude. Altitude's the platform that we're building the future on. It's not a CRM, it's the foundation for the advisor operating system of the future. And Pathfinder is the intelligence layer, providing you with the instrumentation to connect you with the most modern technology available today. It is the human to computer interface that provides you with deep intelligence, more perception, and effective tools to leverage these new technologies. The end goal is that it is going to give you the same insights and strategies that were only available to the highest growth teams in the industry. It's built on 50 years of know-how from one of the industry's greatest minds. So why is this the end? We all know this, but I'll make this statement anyway. AI is fundamentally changing how we interact with software. Our prediction is that we will spend less and less time staring at software. What Bill has been trying to do all this time is give you the ability to spend more and more time meeting with clients and prospects. What we're going to find is a few things. Over the next few years, we'll see a dynamic shift in how people interact with software. Companies with a deep understanding of the industry that they're in will generate more powerful outcomes. Companies with deep access to the data in their platforms will be able to surface, execute, and provide guidance to those users on all aspects of their business. And all of this will be built faster than ever. So whenever I have conversations with people about Pathfinder and Altitude, I get the question, so how does Pathfinder differ from AI note takers? And it's all about the data inside. Let's imagine your CRM is this castle. It's surrounded by tall walls and a moat. Current AI note takers can only access a portion of the castle, let's say maybe the kitchen, and have to provide you with outcomes based off limited data. Altitude was designed to incorporate AI from the beginning. It's literally why we built it. It has access to all the data inside the CRM, and over time will become more and more powered by deep consulting experience. It's going to become the ultimate business assistant for everybody on the team. This is basically the future of software. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you guys what Altitude looks like. You may say, okay, well, it looks like a CRM. And it does, because you have to have a platform for the data to actually live in to start from. Altitude is the baseline that we're building everything off of. And the intelligence layer that you'll be interacting with is right here, available at every time, at any time from any area of the workspace. So in the contact workspace, you're going to see a lot of filters, because one of the core things about having a healthy database that you can actually market to is having the ability to segment all of your data into usable areas. Whether you're human or an AI, the segmentation has to occur, where you're not actually able to really communicate with other people, which is the purpose of marketing. So we have a householding system. You have the ability to sort by companies, individuals. You have your basic statuses, which is what is the status of your relationship with this individual, deep tagging capabilities, service tiers for managing your interactions and interaction intervals with your clients, as well as we built the interface to allow you to be able to interact with the data that's in it in a meaningful way at any time. So for example, I can look at Allison Smith with Cape, and if I want to see the last couple of interactions with them, I just drop this down and I can see immediately. If I want to dive deeper into them, I can go ahead and do that and actually click on them and pull up all the data that's in here that I need to be able to make any sort of decisions. In here, you have all the standard contact information. You have the associated fields that you need to make decisions, to look things up, to do phone calls. But the place that things actually really start getting interesting is when you start using AI to help you make better decisions. Now, the way that Pathfinder works, the one that's included with Altitude, is that it works as if it's a trained assistant. And what I mean by that is that it's an assistant that's been trained by billgoodmarketing. So it knows deeply how it's actually supposed to use the CRM, because it understands the dynamics of a relationship, like what type of notes are actually supposed to go in. How do I build relationships? What's important for the whole team to see? And we've trained Pathfinder on that aspect of note entry and data extraction. So you can see here that we have some pre-created prompts. I have a test prompt that I built for this specific purpose to demonstrate the depth at which Pathfinder can actually interact with the data in here. And I'm going to go ahead and run that for you. So normally you can actually just go ahead and hit the microphone and then dictate a note. It'll actually take that note. It'll take whatever occurred and actually put it into the system. But the test prompt that I built is kind of long. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there and we'll just scan over it together. So this is about a meeting with an individual this morning. This individual, normally this would be like a client that you talk to. I don't have this guy in here. So we'll go ahead and change it to, let's say, Alice Ape. And we'll actually see it in terms of like the interaction with the data and actually how it processes it. So we're saying that we spoke with Alice Ape this morning. I'll do Smithwick since this is for a male. And he said he was excited because he was about to attend his daughter's college graduation. His daughter's Jessica Smith, and I want to send her a congratulations letter. We discussed the annuities. I just need to look for any other instances of Scott so that it doesn't get confused. Anyway, let's just see what it does with this. Now, the way that we built Pathfinder is we built it to be completely interactive. We're not just doing a bunch of text. It also keeps the advisor, the team member in the loop. AI is great, but it's not perfect. And the only way to ensure that it's actually processing data correctly is to keep you in the loop. And I think that's a very important part of our philosophy in terms of how we leverage AI, is that AI is not necessarily there to replace you. It's there to assist you and to aid you and to make sure that what you're doing is the right thing, but you're also making sure that it's doing the right thing. So it's going to go ahead and since it found Smithwick, it's going to go ahead and add, and it doesn't need to basically confirm with you that Smithwick is the person that you're talking about. If it's not 100% sure, it's going to then pop up like, hey, which one of these people is Smithwick? And then you would basically select that. But you can see through here, what it's doing is it's taking this dictation from the meeting and it's broken it up into the different sections of the conversation. It's identifying different bits of information in here in terms of concerns, actions, different things that need to actually be done. And then once I confirm that that is correct, I just go ahead and add the note. Next, it's adding insights. Insights are a way for itself to prioritize different conceptual things that it knows about this household or this individual or this interaction. They just go in as a note, and as we continue to develop it, it's going to be able to take this information and put it into a section of the platform what refers to it to give you guidance and stuff like that on the relationship or things that are important to them, etc. Now it's going to go ahead and add the administrative task to go ahead and send the college graduation. Bill Good Marketing has a tremendous content library that gives you notes, emails, social media posts, infographics, that provides you with all of the material that you need to build and maintain your relationships. We have advisors that have been with us for more than 30 years that continue to use this content today because it is an important part of brand building for the advisor and for the team. So with the basic version of it, it just knows that you should do that. So it's going to go ahead and schedule that task. If I had actually given it specifically a date, it would have that start date and end date be that date, but it's giving me a few days here to make sure I do that. And it's going ahead and adding it to the advisor, which is Susan. If I would have said my assistant, Sally, then it would have added the assignee there to be Sally. Then an advanced version that we're building that we'll be releasing in the next month or so incrementally is Pathfinder Plus, which I'll show you guys in a minute. Pathfinder Plus will have the ability to go grab this letter and give you a few different versions of it for you to send it out. You don't even have to go do that. So that'll be pretty interesting to see that too. Now it's going ahead and adding a general administrative task to go ahead and send information on Social Security maximization because it was a concern that Smithwick had. And this is then a follow-up for after that, right? Just to make sure that he doesn't have any questions. Now what we're doing is it knows that there needs to be a meeting to assess the $250,000 for maturing CDs. This is actually going to go on the calendar, and Pathfinder Plus with our bookings module, which is kind of similar to Calendly, will enable you to actually go ahead and automatically send an email out to schedule this meeting via email. Human in the loop is important there too, right? So it's going to go ahead and it'll show you basically an outline of what the email is going to look like. You can approve it, modify it, change it, and then it'll go ahead and send that email out. If there's no response after a couple of days, it'll come back to you and say, hey, we weren't able to schedule a meeting with Smithwick. Do you want me to try again? And if it doesn't work again, then obviously prompts you to call or schedule a call to reach out to him. Another thing that it's doing here is that this relationship in the database didn't exist before. So Jessica Smith existed, but it wasn't tied to Smithwick as his daughter. So, normally you would know that, but if you didn't know that, now you do. And now it's also added to the platform. And then the final thing it's going to do, which a lot of people forget about, is creating the actual opportunity. How are you supposed to manage your book of business in terms of generating new assets if you're not tracking them, right? And Pathfinder does that for you also. So all in all, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, a little more than 10 different actions and activities. This is fairly standard. The actual original prompt that we used before, that Stephanie, actually, our SVP of sales, used during a demonstration at the Cambridge conference was much longer. I think it was something like 20 different actions and activities that it did in there. So now it's going ahead and doing a summary of what it did, but that's just one example of it. We've had people use it in unique ways where it will actually review data in the household and find things that were opportunities that were never put in. that were coming due based off notes that were in there. So I'm really excited not only to continue to develop this, but to see how people use it and to see how it actually helps people drum up new business and adhere to the best practices that we've developed for a very, very, very long time. All right, I'm going to continue on here and just go over a few things that also make Altitude somewhat unique. We're very big on giving you every single opportunity you can to deepen a relationship with a client or prospect. So we do things like important dates like birthdays, anniversaries, retirement dates, stuff like that. Why are these important? I know a lot of coaches out there or other platforms may recommend doing birthday cards. We don't do birthday cards. We do birthday letters. And we actually have 202 birthday letters that is one birthday letter for each age from 0 to 101 for each, for male and female. And that's very easy to process, and here it comes with Altitude. And it's amazing because they're kind of cheesy and hokey, but they're wonderful. It's just another touch point that you get to make. And having these dates in here that are important, right? We have anniversary letters, one for the husband, one for the wife, one, and then they exist also for both of them. And they're all related to relationship building things that are important for you to do to maintain those relationships. And it's interesting, when you have a really good relationship with a client, it's not just that you look forward to seeing them and they look forward to seeing you. It makes it really easy for them to send over referrals, because if you're doing a good job and you're providing good investment advice and you're an honest person, you're trustworthy and you're caring, and that's demonstrated through your actions and the way that you communicate and the marketing materials that you use, makes it really easy to generate referrals. A lot of those systems that we've taught as consultants are built into this platform and are made available for you to use. Okay, so there's areas where you have notes. Obviously, we do email sync with Microsoft 365. So any of the emails that come in from clients that are actually in the database, clients or prospects, will actually be nested in here. One of the things that we do that's really unique, like I said, relationships. Why are relationships important? It gives you an overview of the network that your book of business is. And for those firms that have gone past, or those partnerships or whatever that have gone past the initial intense amount of work that's required to grow a business like yours, there are different stages that help where you get to where you need to implement other best practices to actually continue to grow. One of those is centers of influence. The other is obviously referrals are just a common known, like that's one of the ways that you always grow. But having a deep referral relationship network that you can reference gives you insights. So for example, this right here is just a map of the Alice Ape and Smithwick household. In that, you can see that they referred Roger Johnson. You can see that they were referred by Albert Einstein. And when I go into Albert Einstein, I can see he also is the brother of Velda Oldbucks, and that he's also was referred by Sarah Bernhardt. And as you continue to build these networks out, not only do you see the familial relationships, the personal relationships, but it allows you to actually also see the professional relationships. And that we built this because one of the strategies that we teach is how to actually build a referral network and a referral relationship that is a two-way street rather than just sending out referrals. And this particular tool makes it really, really easy to actually see those. And as we continue to build out Pathfinder, it has access to all of your referrals in terms of the networks in between them, and makes it really easy to surface opportunities that maybe you've missed. It also prevents you from making mistakes, which Bill would call an income reduction plan, where you have a little client that has a small book, that has a small amount of assets with you. And you're like, man, I heard this really cool idea where you're supposed to basically shave off the lowest 20% of your book of business. And you're in the process of doing that. And you don't realize that small client referred you three really big clients. This is just one of the things that we built in that we're super excited about because it really gives you a lot of data. Now, Bill developed a long time ago something called the 90-day no contact. It's basically a structure that enables you to manage a lot of relationships. And those relationships, that original best practice was set up so that you or someone from your office is having a conversation with every single person in your book of business at least every 90 days, right? Now, there's a lot of other ways you can build relationships. So we've or maintain those relationships, and we've done that through personal contact. You can see it here at the household level, which is great. You can see that the different touch types that we have, whether it's planning, investment, social events, client appreciation events, or just conversations, okay? Whether that's a personal contact, which is the group of these, or it's a virtual meeting or a phone call. This gives you the ability to manage every single relationship in your book of business on a cycle, and take something that can be complicated that you're throwing into a spreadsheet, makes it super simple and really easy to access. So for example, I can see that this scheduled activity was scheduled for November 5th. It was never started, right? But this personal contact is set up for February 4th. So that tells me that I need to actually schedule this contact, whether I'm just going to call myself or I'm going to have someone on my team reach out and schedule a meeting. This shows me that I have a contact with these guys in February. I need to make sure that it happens. Now with Pathfinder Plus, you'd be able to just basically click a button and it would then go ahead and put up the email. Hey, Allison Smithwick, I've been thinking about you guys recently. I really want to see if we can connect and see how things are going. Do you have any times in the next couple of weeks? Click my link and go ahead and schedule some time. Or if you want to come in the office, just let us know, right? Once I do that, I would then schedule that actual task. I would put it, let's say that's tomorrow. We'll do it in a week. I can update it. And now this particular personal contact is scheduled out. You can also do that for the entirety of your book of business through personal contact. So this is basically going to be everybody. Okay. And you can see some are past due, some are still coming up, etc. This is just one way that we're enforcing or giving you the ability to enforce one of the best practices that has helped build some of the largest teams in the country. I kid you not, one of our largest teams uses this religiously, and it is the cornerstone of what helps them build their relationships and maintain with their clients. Okay, so back to the contact detail workspace. We also have opportunity management. This is fairly standard. Pathfinder helping you put those opportunities in there makes it way easier. But this is how you track opportunities that you have with clients that are coming up. We've also created custom fields. Now, this is traditionally like an area where you just write junk, which is not the purpose of it. And in the future, having data that doesn't necessarily have a place will be solved. But I think it's also incredibly important still right now to be able to see that data. And the data that we have in this particular area out of the box, that was the other thing. Out of the box, we have a ton of things that come with it, like normally that consulting clients would have access to, because I wanted to make sure that Altitude had the things that you needed to actually build your business. But back to the custom fields, we've created custom field sections. That means they're purpose driven. Like, what are things they're interested in? Where do they like to eat? Where do they like to go? Right? What are some hobbies that they have? This is all personal information that helps you build a robust understanding of likes and dislikes, right? What are lifestyle things that they have? What places have they gone to? Where would they like to go? What types of trips do they like to go to basically attend on? What are some of the financial interests things? What are the things they hate? What are the things they like? Where do they have their investments at? Now, Pathfinder will be able to access this and help you build these things out over time, so that then when you're thinking, for example, and if you're not doing this, you really should, doing a small client event with a select group of your clients that all have common interests, right? Now, if I wanted to plan something for Father's Day, I would want to go, okay, Pathfinder, what are some ideas that some of my clients that are, that are dads or that are males or whatever, find interesting that I can use to then put together a small client event? It'll dig through all of your client relationships, look through all these personal interests, and then give you an output of some ideas, or at least people that have similar interests in mind. We're also building custom fields so that you can build dynamic worksheets, so that you can ingest data and go into those worksheets, meaning like, Part of an automation could be onboarding where you have to fill out a sheet, right? You could use Pathfinder to then to look at that PDF, ingest that data, fill out that sheet, and then pass it on. So it's more than just having a place to put unstructured data. It's a really good place for you to also be able to use to understand your client base better. We've also built out a pretty robust assets area. This area we built out as we're integrating with custodians and data aggregators. All that data will be pulled into here. This is one of the more robust areas for being able to add assets, add accounts. Super excited about this. In terms of the different types of fields that are populated, sources of funds, whether they're active or not, at different asset types. And the cool thing about this too is that the way that we built this platform and the way that we're building it, the way that we're building this operating system is that it's a pretty high percentage of the changes that we make that actually come from our clients. And we are of the mind and of the size and of the capability to build not only the platform that implements our best practices, but also makes it so that the things that you guys need and want can be incorporated into that too. So, for example, last month we did more than 200 different tweaks, updates, fixes, feature enhancements, modifications in the course of a month. And that's a tremendous amount of speed. Okay, I'll move on a little bit more. Our intelligence area is basically for adding encrypted stuff. So social security numbers, passports, driver's license numbers. We have a lot of clients that are adding in like secret password type things where if the client calls in and they want to request some information, they want a distribution, they want to sell some assets, they want to buy something, you put that secret password in there to just confirm who they are, right? People put that stuff in there as well. And then we have docs. Since we are building an operating system, we want to make it so that you don't have to continue to go out and piece together, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 different things to be able to do work. So we are building in storage, hosting. We'll be building out things like e-signature stuff. All that stuff will be stored in your document profile. One of the things that we're working on this year for release at some point is Elevate, which is our fully integrated marketing automation platform, which will include the ability to just go ahead and generate a website, right? Host it, generate it for pennies, no longer having to go and pay some website company, $150 a month just to have a website. So building that ecosystem, making sure that everything's integrated together, Docs is just a part of that. Tagging, which is great. Tagging takes high level stuff that you want to make sure that you see constantly, having access to all of your contact information for the different individuals of your household, being able to click through that really quickly. We have a true householding system. You can see right now I'm looking at the household, but again, you have other members of the household. This gives you, again, deeper segmentation for marketing, for communication purposes, and for getting a whole view of the entire household and being the family financial advisor. Okay, so our activities is kind of interesting. We have out-of-the-box workflows. Those workflows are built on best practices. These are things that were in our original system. These are things that some of the highest performing teams that we've worked with have used for decades, and we've built them into Altitude as well. When you go to click to run a workflow, you'll see that we have things like lead development workflows. We have client onboarding. We have this black carpet process, which is actually what you run when you have a client that's passed away. All of our workflows, and we will continue to add more, as well as our coaches develop them or clients find unique things that they've created, and they want to go ahead and share them with us. We'll implement them globally. It's very easy for us to push these things out. But the way that our workflows are designed is that they're designed on a process of tiering. Okay, so let's go look at a somewhat complicated one. So this is our client onboarding. When you go through it, let's go to the end. The way that we have it is that we have an objective. An objective, if you're looking at in the terminology of like altitude, which is kind of mountaineering and reaching new heights, right? The objective would be you're looking at a map and you want to get somewhere. Now, that place might be really far away. And in order to get there, you have to set up milestones because it's a long trip. So the objective is the actual workflow itself. It's the entirety of it. It's the start to finish. In that workflow, you have milestones. Those milestones are called waypoints. Okay. So in those waypoints, you then have groups of tasks, right? So in this waypoint, the waypoint is to set up new client accounts. In there, you have tasks. In those tasks can be distributed to different individuals. It can be distributed, like just given to yourself. The tasks can even have subtasks just to check off things to make sure that you did them correctly. And as you go through them, you check them off. It just moves on to the next one. And over a period of time, the waypoint's complete. And then you go on to the next one, complete those tasks. And after a time, that waypoint's complete. And then the entire objective is complete. We're working on fully like more advanced automations, which are fully trigger based. So for example, if I wanted to run that new client onboarding, I would just set the trigger of when so I'd go in, I would basically set it so when the status goes from lead or prospect to client, run this workflow, and then it'll automatically do it. We're adding things so that our AI assistant can also help build them for you, which will be really neat. We're going to be building out some pretty cool technology to do that. So that's some of the things in terms of workflows. Now, if you're working on objectives, for example, this one's in progress. It's the new client onboarding for a Delta MD. I can click on that. It's going to show me some basic information about it. But you can also go into the opportunity work or the objective workspace and work it here. Okay. So I'm in the objective. I'm looking at my waypoints. I'm able to click through the tasks. I'm able to complete the task. Let's say, for example, it's, get paperwork signed. I get the paperwork signed. I can then include it in the actual task as part of a completion so that the team later can go in there. They can grab the stuff that they need to, or it gets stored as a record as part of their household. As I complete these different tasks, it then goes ahead and updates the completion at the top, and I can continue to move along. We're going to continue to build on this. The next thing that we're rolling out fairly soon is having automatically send emails, automatically print letters. Again, that's still human in the loop. So for example, that'll go into a queue. The person that's responsible for printing them or for approving them will see all the different things that's in the queue. They'll review it, make sure it's correct, and then go ahead and send. And then it actually goes out. The cool thing too is that you can also see if there's any resources associated tasks to it, like the documents that are associated with that workflow. And then you get an overview of all the different tasks. This also allows you to go ahead and actually resort things if you wanted to. It's pretty awesome. Basic task management is similar to every other CRM platform out there. This is like, hey, it's one thing, you need to get this done, go ahead and do it. I can look at it, I can review it, I can see any sort of work that's been done on it. I can add my own notes, etc. I can go ahead and complete it once it's done. It shuffles off to complete it. Calendar is super important because calendar is where a lot of people do their work. On here, the calendar is totally shared across the team. You have the ability to turn on, turn off other people's calendars so you can see where the events are. Like I said before, we're rolling out bookings probably next week. Bookings is the Calendly equivalent. It'll look directly at your calendar. And the cool thing about this too is that when you're actually looking at items, you get all the data that's available about it right there. You also see over here, these are all the tasks that need to be completed in this time period. And this gives you the ability to quickly look at it, read the details, go into the task, modify it, edit it, complete it, etc. And it makes it really easy to have like another sort of command center in terms of where you're getting your work done. We also have a fully integrated email workspace. This shows all the emails from all of your clients for all the people that are in the system. This is going to give us the ability to do some pretty amazing things with AI inside of the platform and doing it securely as well. The cool thing about the way that we integrated this is that it doesn't bypass any sort of administrative compliance stuff. It just piggybacks works. Everything gets sent into your, out of your Outlook. It makes it really easy for compliance to feel like you're not bypassing them anyway. Makes it really easy. The other thing that is not something we used to do is we used to have all of our content only available for our Bill Good Marketing clients. And now you have access to it as well as an Altitude client. That doesn't mean that, maybe you'll try to understand how to use it correctly. And we can help you with that. But there's a tremendous power in here. The way this stuff is written is unlike anything else. And I don't mean to be to boast, but I really think that, and Bill has said this too, that we have probably one of the best writers in the industry on our team. And the reason why content's important is because of the concept, the brand that you're trying to create with your clients and prospects. The best relationships that you have with them are because of your brand, whether you're aware of it or not, whether you're focusing it on not. And this material really helps you do it. It makes it very easy to send out of Altitude. We're one of the only CRMs that actually does mail merge, because mail is incredibly important. It's underutilized. And I'm happy to, if you're looking at Altitude, you're looking at leaving your CRM, I can show you how these types of things actually work. Right now, our opportunities workspace is pretty cool. It's pretty basic. We have some super high-tech stuff coming out on this. I'm not going to go into it because it's top secret, but it's incredibly revolutionary. And I'm going to show you guys a couple more things. I want to show you how Pathfinder Plus is going to work. So everyone has a meeting assistant, a meeting attendant, right? They're on your Zoom. I hopped on one today. I had Fireflies, I had Pathfinder, and the advisor had his own. So for a minute there, I was sitting on a meeting with 3 other AIs, which was kind of funny. But our meeting prep stuff is completely different. Again, we're building this platform to implement our best practices. This is stuff where it's I've always wanted to build a platform that helps people make money. And that's literally what we're doing right now. This meeting prep is for a fictitious person, okay? This is for Thomas and Isabella Calderon. And in here, it's just the overview. I can quickly see the different notes from their household if I want to see it. If there were meeting objectives either added by you or the team, it's in there. And then I go into prep, and this is where things get really cool. I had to generate some insights, which goes over, and this is based off of the meeting prep stuff that we teach our advisors to do. When this comes out, you're going to have templates for each meeting type. You'll be able to modify them. You'll be able to use our own, there'll be dozens of templates in there, maybe not dozens, probably a dozen. And you'll be able to use that template as well as get deep insights into what is actually going on and what you need to do. So for example, you can see all the recent activity opportunities that have come up. This meeting prep right now is just a checklist, but this will fire off activities and tasks to your team to make sure this stuff is ready to go. You have the description. If you have your own personal objectives on this that you want to get outcomes on, you can add it. It gives you just a summary of what's actually going on, right? Because this one's supposed to be about funding for the daughter getting their doctorate or something like that. And it also talks about recent opportunities, so you're fully up to speed. Context check for the household, just to remind you of everything that's going on. And then it's giving you questions to ask. So you can either use the ones that were generated from Pathfinder, delete them, add your own. If there's data that needs to be clarified, you could basically go in here and ask these questions as well. Once it's clarified, in the post-meeting stuff, Pathfinder will go ahead and update the data, because the power of this is the data that's going back into the CRM, right? These are things that used to take so long and so much training to identify and put into proper places. Pathfinder's doing it for you now. And then before you go into the meeting, after you generate everything, confirm everything, all the questions get added, everything gets put into its own actual meeting agenda. You can then either print this out and use it and go with you, have Pathfinder record it from a laptop or your computer or something I'm going to show you guys in just a second. Or you can just go ahead and take the PDF, write down your notes, take a picture of it later with Pathfinder Plus, and then put it into the platform. All goes into post meeting, all gets stored in a beautiful interface, all actionable, valuable data, not just garbage. These are all things that we spent tremendous amounts of time training people on how to do. And the people that are doing these things in their practice are growing very quickly. We're going to be giving out some free trials, which is something we haven't done yet. Pathfinder and Altitude we haven't been talking about it to people. We've released it to our internal clients, and people have been using it for months and months and months and months and months. And now we're finally opening it up to the general public. So part of that is the future, right? So I've talked about the future, and there are things that are incredibly important about what we're building and the way that the world is going to work in the future. I'm super connected with technology. I'm always looking at things. I'm not like a super crazy developer or anything like that myself. I've always been a product oriented person. And if you're connected to what's happening out there and you're watching all these different companies that are building things right now, you'll see that there is a future that's being created through all this. And the future that's being created is a connected future. It's not like, oh, you can get YouTube whenever you want, or you can check your email. It's not that. I think that what we're heading towards is a future where you have a device, your phone, and that phone has its own AI that is yours. And that data that is yours helps you achieve better outcomes in life, helps you with your scheduling, your ordering, reminding you of things, like all the little nuances of if you had basically an assistant that you really liked that was super helpful with you at all times. And what we're building is that thing for you on your phone. And when I say it's like, oh, it's the Pathfinder mobile app, it's more than that. It's not just an app that sits there that you can click through like a CRM. It's going to give you the ability to have a really cool conversation with somebody that you just met at the bar while you're traveling. And then when that person leaves, you open it up and you're like, oh my gosh, I just met this really interesting person. His family has been in oil for generations. And, he's been looking at doing some alternative investments, and he said some things that sounded really fishy. And, here's his card, and you take a picture of it. And I told him that I would do this and this and that. I'd send him this piece of documentation. And then it's the interaction of that, right? It's all the nuances in terms of what that interaction was like with that individual, and Pathfinder's ability to actually capture that, record that, and put those important things in there later and make sure that you don't forget that stuff and that you don't miss that opportunity with that individual. We are building this app so that it has all of the capabilities that you would expect from the inbuilt app, as well as the meeting prep, access to the contacts in the database, being able to ask it questions, full access to all the intelligence in your platform in a conversational manner. That doesn't mean that everybody's going to talk to their AI. I think at some point, we're going to have a large percentage of people that do. You can still type in there. But I've even found myself downloading my own thoughts into something because it's easier just to stream of consciousness of what's going on and having that thing record that data, clean it up so that it's clear without really definitely, altering my purpose and my intention there. So this is something that we're working on that will be included as part of Altitude. We're not going to charge you guys extra money for it. And just to give you an idea of the way that we're breaking Pathfinder up, Pathfinder is the basic version that you saw in there. And there's so much more I could show you. I just didn't want to get too deep into it because there's a lot. Comes out of the box with the platform. There is a token usage limit. So at some point, if you're using a lot, having it generate all kinds of stuff, you're going to be asked to pay, $5 or $10 more to use it. But it's kind of like rollover minutes. So that stuff stays with you. Then you have Pathfinder Plus. When we put this out, it's not just your meeting attendant. It's going to give you insights. It gives you your prep, your follow-up, your deeper revenue assisting and generating activities, give you better profiling, give you suggestions. And as time goes on, it's going to start helping you implement more and more best practices. But the thing that really, really, really will replace, I think, a lot of things is Pathfinder Pro. What we're building with that is going to be basically, as much as possible, the Bill Good Marketing system implemented into Altitude. These are all the strategies. This is the deep dive into knowledge about how to do them, the accomplishment of a lot of those strategies. You're going to see that your best team members are able to execute faster. You're going to be multiplying your revenue faster. It's actually, once we get to that stage, the level of growth is going to be exponential, like astronomical, because each time you forget something that's important, I'm not talking about data about a person, but something that you should be doing. You are actually reducing the percentage of your capability to actually expand. And the way that we're designing Pathfinder Pro is so that every single thing that you should be doing, it's kind of guiding you towards doing, or it's helping you accomplish by doing it itself. And I think that with the speed of software and the speed of compute and the things that people are really seeing, being able to help every single good advisor and team member out there do the next best practice they should be doing based off of proven strategies is going to show that times have really changed. So, like I said, we're going to go ahead and give out some free trials. The free trials are for those people that like to just kind of poke around. You're considering moving to another platform. You can go in there, use it for 14 days, see how it feels, see if you like it. We're also doing tours. We're going to be doing tours, either group tours or one-on-ones. These are for those of you that are tired of your legacy CRM. You want to get yourself set up to be able to be ready to move into the future as the future is being created. Altitude and Pathfinder are in development every single day. That doesn't mean like that it's like we're working on it, improving it, creating it, staying up to date with technology. Like all the stuff's in there, but it's not one of those things where we stop development and then we're focusing on 472 integrations. We are focusing on integrations this quarter, but it's not going to be like to every single app out there for whatever reason. So if you would like to do a free trial, go ahead and hit that link, scan the QR code. If you want to do a demo, go ahead and scan that, hit that link. If you have questions, you can call us, you can email us. If you want to kind of dig around some more, you can go ahead and check out gainaltitude.ai. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. Our phone number is on the website. You can also go to billgoodmarketing.com. If you need help with growing your business in terms of like insights, coaching, consulting, Bill Good Marketing, you can reach out to us for that as well. Hopefully this gave you some insight, has you excited about the direction that things are going, because I'm incredibly excited. Our team is excited. I think that things over the next couple of years are going to get a lot easier, and we're going to actually be able to spend a lot more time doing things that we like rather than putting in notes and doing paperwork and stuff like that. So thanks for spending time with us today. I'm going to go ahead and take off and see you guys again soon.